Welcome back. President-elect Trump nominating Jamieson Greer to be the next U.S. trade representative. Greer served as the former chief of staff to Bob Lighthizer, Trump's trade representative, during his first term. He was instrumental in imposing tariffs on China. Greer has advocated for strategic decoupling from China, saying the cost of doing nothing or underestimating the threat posed by China is far greater. Beijing, meanwhile, responding to Trump's threat of putting an additional 10% tariff on China for their role in the deadly fentanyl crisis. A spokesperson at the Chinese embassy in Washington writes this on X. China-U.S. economic and trade cooperation is mutually beneficial in nature. No one will win a trade war or a tariff war. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow and author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang. Gordon, great to see you. Do you agree with that statement from China? No one wins?
I don't agree. Matter of fact, China, which is a trade surplus country, can't win a trade war with the United States. This year through September, China's merchandise trade surplus with the United States was $217.5 billion. That means we have 217.5 billion reasons why we will win a trade war. President Trump is absolutely determined to do so, and I'm sure that we will.
Well, I mean, look, what about the thought that if, in fact, we see all of these tariffs, and by the way, I agree with you, but I want to push back here because I want to get in the thinking of some of the globalists out there who are afraid that tariffs are only going to lead to inflation and higher prices that Americans pay for goods. What do you think?
Well, in 2018, when Trump's first round of Section 301 tariffs, China picked up somewhere between 75 to 81% of the cost of those tariffs. People in China have done studies of the economic impact and found that in 2018, those tariffs had 5 times greater cost to China than to the United States, which confirms these estimates that we have seen. So, yeah, globalists can say what they want, but the facts are the facts. In 2018, there was virtually no inflationary impact. And by the way, Maria, China this month has been driving down the value of the renminbi, which is making Chinese products cheaper. China is already absorbing the cost of the anticipated tariffs.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think that's terrific analysis, Gordon. I want to get your take on what the Wall Street Journal is reporting, that China is now looking to Elon Musk as a channel into President-elect Trump. Musk, of course, has had a long history in Beijing. Tesla's $7 billion Shanghai plant being the electric car company's biggest factory, the company's first overseas plant. Musk has also had a relationship with Chinese Premier Li Qiang, who back in April called Musk, quote, a dear friend. The CEO of Chinese-owned TikTok, Shou Chew, has reached out to Musk to get counsel on the incoming Trump administration as well. Is this going to be China's way in to change policy through Musk?
Well, Chinese academics think so. They know that there is no replacement for Henry Kissinger. But they're now in China talking about the 3 Kissingers. One of them is Elon Musk. The other 2 are Tim Cook of Apple and Steve Schwarzman of Blackstone. I don't know if China's hopes are realistic, but we know that Tesla, that factory you showed, that factory in Shanghai accounts for more than half of the Teslas in the world, and that last year Tesla got 22.5% of its revenues from China. And by the way, Tesla's market share in China is slipping fast, especially in the third quarter of this year. And so what we're seeing right now is China does have extraordinary leverage over Elon Musk.
Yeah, they've got extraordinary leverage, but I don't know that President Trump is going to need any of these people giving him advice. He has shown us that he knows how to deal with Xi Jinping. From day one, when he had Xi Jinping over to Mar-a-Lago in his first term, he was the second leader, global leader to come, and Trump basically schooled him.
Yes, he did. Over that dinner, when Trump stood up and said he had launched 59 missiles in Syria, which is a China friend, Xi Jinping was absolutely flummoxed. He was quiet, and he was relatively well-behaved for the 4 years of Trump's first term.
Yeah, that was really important, the message that Trump sent. But what about China's military deploying naval and air forces to follow and monitor a U.S. Navy patrol aircraft that flew through the Taiwan Strait? They will not allow a U.S. jet to fly over the Taiwan Strait without intimidation, Gordon. A spokesperson for the Chinese says that the U.S. is threatening peace and stability in the region just by being there, Gordon. Your reaction?
Yeah, China always does this, and the flight of the P-8 on Tuesday through the Taiwan Strait is another indication of China's use of its military to intimidate others, including the United States. But one of the good things, Maria, is that this month, China has been uncharacteristically quiet in its peripheral waters and airspace. And I think this is chalked up to President Trump's election. The Chinese don't want to take him on. And so clearly the Chinese right now are worried about Trump, and they're thinking about how to deal with him. But in the meantime, they've been quiet.
Yeah, it's a great point. I agree with you. But what about the idea that China is also one of the major buyers of our debt? How reliant are we on that? Let me bring in Adam Johnson on that, because, Adam, you've been zeroing in on the amount of bonds that China buys.
Yeah, it's staggering, Maria. Actually, they buy more of our bonds than anybody. So, Gordon, my question to you, while I agree that we have leverage over the Chinese because they need us to buy their goods, we need them to buy our bonds. What happens if we ratchet up the sanctions and, or not sanctions, we ratchet up the tariffs, and then, we've got to deal with the shortfall in the bonds? How do we deal with that?
I don't think we have to worry because everybody wants to hold U.S. dollars right now. And so, especially in a Trump administration where our economy will be resurgent, I don't think we need the Chinese to buy our debt. You know, since 2008, China has been threatening to dump our debt to hurt us. They never do it. They call it the nuclear option. And they don't do it because they realize the markets are so broad around the world that it will have no effect on the U.S. They can maybe, disrupt things for a couple weeks, but that's about it, Adam.
All right. Well, that's good if that's the case, because otherwise they would have serious leverage. Gordon, it's great to see you. Thanks very much. Happy Thanksgiving, Gordon.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Maria, and thank you so much for all of your support.
We're grateful to you.